The morning after, the night before, and wow, that might have been one of the worst Tottenham performances I've seen all season. And that is saying something. Tottenham have lost 18 games this season. Yesterday, in the Europa League, the knockout phase, the last 16, the biggest game of Tottenham's season, that none of the players or the manager could be bothered. And I reflected on it overnight and I let everything sort of sink in. And this time, the anger and the disappointment hasn't left me. Usually when I sort of let it settle, I can come back the next morning with a bit of a level head and I've thought things through and I've analysed it a little bit. But there are simply no excuses for how Tottenham performed in Alkmaar. It was utterly shameful. It took until the 87th minute for Tottenham to have a shot on target against a team that, no offence to them, we should be beating comfortably across two legs and even in a one-off game. I know we beat them 1-0 in the league phase of Europa League and we weren't at our best in that one either, but Thursday night was just a completely different level of performance to what we've seen, and I'm just wondering what the ramifications and the after effects are going to be heading into another important game on Sunday against Bournemouth and then the return leg against Alkmaar in North London next Thursday. We could be out of the Europa League in less than a week, which is not something I considered when the draw for the last 16 was made. And I'll be honest with you guys, I was fully confident that we were going to go to Alkmaar and, if not get a result, at least put in a performance that was worth something. And it makes me really upset that there was such a lack of effort on the pitch. And it was all over the pitch as well. And I don't really like singling out players to criticise, but when you've had 8 days rest, you've not played for 8 days, and your opponent has played twice in that period, and you come into the game and you're still getting outworked and outfought in defence, in midfield, in attack, then you need someone to stand up. And Heung-min Son, of course, is our captain, and he came out after the game and said it's a wake-up call, but how many wake-up calls have we had this season? There are so many fans, I like to think myself included, that have been incredibly patient with the players and with the manager this season. And to come out after the game and say, yep, it's a big wake-up call, that loss. I mean, we've been knocked out of 2 competitions over the last few weeks. Our Premier League form is absolutely awful in the grand scheme of things. And Son, it's all well and good saying these things, but on the pitch, 0 shots on target, 0 completed dribbles, 0 big chances created. If you want to captain this club and you dream of lifting silverware with Tottenham, you simply have to be better, because there are no excuses for any of the players from that game. And Ange Postecoglou has come out this morning and sort of said, the reason I didn't play Christian Romero or Mickey van der Ven, who were back on the bench, is because I took a look at the pitch and I wasn't happy with it and I didn't want to risk them. And to an extent, okay, that's fine. You don't want to lose them again, having missed them for such large periods of the season already. We're looking at that away game and this upcoming home game against them, our 2 biggest games of the season. You know, you're taking a big risk leaving it for the second leg. And at the end of the day, it's minutes that they aren't getting in their legs. They're not picking up that match fitness and that sharpness. And now they only have the Bournemouth game to get some minutes. They may not even be able to play on Thursday or play a significant amount because of that. So yeah, I don't know how you guys feel watching this the day after the game, but I just feel a bit sad, if I'm being totally honest. A bit sad that our season hinges on this, and there was just such a lack of urgency all over the pitch. Mathys Tel, I was really excited about the signing, but from the 5 or 6 games I've seen him play for Tottenham so far, he doesn't really look like a striker. He looks like he's more suited on the wing. Brennan Johnson just looks like he's jogging about the place half-arsed all the time. In midfield, Rodrigo Bentancur is not a number 6, so why do we keep playing him there? Lucas Bergvall, I thought, was a bright spark in the game. I know he had the own goal, or whether it went down to him or Jed Spence, I'm not entirely sure. But either way, yeah, he was a bit of a bright spark. Spence had a bit of an off game, the first time in a good few months that he's not really been at his best. I thought Destiny Udogie was really poor. I thought Vicario was good and made a couple of really big saves. I thought Archie Gray had an uncharacteristically poor game. So I'm also confused because we had this 8-day period where we didn't have a game. So the players should be fresh. They should be mentally sharp. They should be physically sharp. And they should be, at the very least, up for the game. And it just didn't seem like that across the pitch. And this is sort of like a review/preview because we're going into this Bournemouth game on Sunday. And if we play like that against Bournemouth, we are going to get turned over heavily. We've proved this season that we are not invincible at home. At Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, teams can beat us. And yeah, it just, for me, if the likes of Ipswich and Leicester can get 3 points against us at home, when you play a Bournemouth team who are flying under Andoni Iraola, and you've watched that performance against Alkmaar on Thursday, you wonder what the outcome is going to be. And if we don't see a much more improved performance on Sunday, then I will start to worry about Thursday's return leg against Alkmaar. Because the reality of the situation is this. It's the fact that Tottenham, despite how badly they played, despite how poor almost every player on the pitch were, we couldn't string 2 passes to each other, we couldn't play in behind them, we couldn't create any chances or get past their defence. We genuinely very, very rarely tested their goalkeeper. And for an attacking team under Ange Postecoglou, that's your philosophy. That's what this Tottenham team is about. It's about creating chances. It's about scoring goals. You know, he's always been very mindful and taken pride in the fact that he doesn't actually care how many goals we concede as long as we score more. So to go away in our biggest game of the season and not score a single goal and only have 1 shot on target that came in the 87th minute, it leaves me very, very confused, especially because I've been such a big advocate of Ange for the entire time that he's been here, and I don't want to see him stacked. I still don't want to see him stacked, but your patience and sort of tether with people does come to an end eventually. And if I'm being totally honest, if we get knocked out and we lose again on Thursday to Alkmaar and we exit the Europa League, I think my will to fight for him and my motivation to defend him as our head coach will just completely dissolve. It will disappear entirely because there's nothing left to be hopeful for. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, the excuses are gone. We've run out of excuses because we have the players back. Dominic Solanke came into that game against Alkmaar and then picked up an injury. Reports are saying that he's got a bruised back and a bruised hip and is likely to miss this weekend. So again, it's more cases of not being able to catch a break, but there was a lot more to it in that Alkmaar game. I thought the subs were wrong. I do think if Mickey van der Ven or Romero are on that pitch, it completely changes the way we play football. So that, for me, irks me. It irks me a little bit just because we all know how important that game is. And then at the end of the game as well, you had Vicario and James Maddison taking up problems with the fans that spent hundreds of pounds to travel to the Netherlands and took days off work. And you've got James Maddison standing there looking at the fans going, like, what are you doing? Like, because they got booed, because the reaction wasn't good. But how do you expect the reaction to be? How do you expect the reaction to be from those fans when they've just watched what they've watched? They've come all that way, spent all that money to watch you do nothing and just walk around the pitch. And then Vicario was getting animated. He was like, what are you doing? Where's your support? Come on. And it just seems like they're out of touch. Like, they'll go back to their cushy lifestyles on thousands and thousands of pounds a week. And the people that pay the money to go and watch them come away from that so disappointed. And it's completely understandable. And I just feel like the best way to remedy that is to actually put in a performance against Bournemouth. The crowd will start to turn if we play poorly and lose at home against Bournemouth. The atmosphere's not been great at all really this season anyway. I feel like he needs to make the changes now and for this game. I do think the lineup needs to be tweaked. I think we need to see Vicario in goal. I think we need to see Pedro Porro at right back is how I would go. Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven, I would start both of them. I really would at this point now. Coming into this upcoming week, the biggest week of the season, and I keep saying that, they both need to start, they both need minutes, even if they don't play the entire game. I'd play Jed Spence at left back, because I just thought Udogie was atrocious on Thursday. And yeah, he caused a lot of problems for ourselves defensively. In midfield, I probably would maybe consider taking Bentancur out, putting Basuma in alongside Bergvall. And then I don't think Kulusevski is going to play. I would have Mikey Moore on one of the wings, probably Son on the left, Mikey Moore on the right, James Maddison in the middle, and then it has to be Tell up front. I don't think he is a striker, but because Solanke looks like he's injured himself and I don't think Richarlison's back yet, I think Tell is going to have to play up front. They did swap it and put Son up top for about 20 minutes against Alkmaar, but it just didn't work. The passages weren't there. We weren't able to play fluid football, and maybe that came down to their pitch. Maybe that just came down to the tactics. Maybe it came down to the fact that the players were clearly not up for the game. But there needs to be a 110% improvement in the entire squad heading into this game. I felt so bad for Mikey Moore not getting a run out or any minutes, considering he was the bright spark against Alkmaar in the league phase game. And players have got a point to prove now. Those that started on Thursday and who start again on Sunday against Bournemouth, if they don't put the performance and the effort and the willingness in, they don't deserve a spot in the return leg. Our season could be over in less than a week because there's nothing to play for in the Premier League. And there's still so many games in Europe that we could still play. And I feel like we can do well in that competition. But the confidence level and the motivation seems to be dipping up and down so much. And a win against a good Bournemouth team who are fighting for a Champions League place as well, I think would be a huge factor in helping us overturn this European tie. And yeah, we just so much. It needs to be basically the opposite performance. We need to be aggressive in the press. We need to be on the front foot. We need to be creating chances, exploiting the spaces because Bournemouth are aggressive themselves, and there will be spaces. We need to do all of that, and there has to be 3 points at the end of it. If you come off the back of 2 losses in a row going into that Alkmaar second leg, things are nervy, things are edgy inside the stadium. The players know what's at stake, and yeah, that's all there is to it. Really. Overall summary, Thursday night was utterly embarrassing and disappointing, and Sunday provides an opportunity to turn a page again, however many times I've said this season. And yeah, as I've said multiple times this video, no more excuses for any of them. No more for the players, no more for the manager. This week is where our season is defined, and we have to up it so much more. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Of course, it helps me out massively. You guys know that by now. What did you make of the game on Thursday, and what are you expecting for Sunday? Is the season over? Can we come back and win this game against Alkmaar in the second leg? I think we can, but it's going to take a big improvement. But yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys, and I will catch you for some reaction to the Bournemouth game on Sunday. As always, come on, you Spurs.